So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Father Michael Baker. I'm one of the Marian Fathers, and it has been such a blessing for me to come back to this parish here, Our Lady of Peace. Some of you know I was here before when I was first ordained a priest. It's been great to come back and to just really get to know a lot of you here, even though it's only been a couple weeks, just to get to meet you and get to hear some of your stories. But also, this is where the idea came to maybe give you an opportunity to ask me some questions. And so we put a box out, as you know, and got some great questions. And we're only able to tackle a small handful at this time, but we're hoping maybe in the future to answer some more questions. Anyway, so without further ado, let's get into the questions.
What's your favorite food? Do you enjoy reading a specific kind of book? So that's a double question for you.
All right, I can tackle that. So food-wise, I'm a bit eclectic when it comes to the different foods I like. My mom's from Italy. My dad's side is American, but also German descent. And I grew up in Southern California, so you've got a whole bunch of different foods coming together. So definitely Italian, definitely Mexican, but there's nothing like cow. There's nothing like good old beef, and that's my favorite.
What is your favorite non-religious book or author to read?
So yes, I actually do read quite a bit, mostly of course, theology, spirituality, sacred scripture. But as far as non-religious books go, I really do enjoy biographies, autobiographies, things of historical account dealing especially with the American West and colonial California. Being that I'm from California, from San Diego, been steeped in the whole mission reality. And my home parish is actually Mission San Diego de Alcala, which was the first church built in California in 1769 by now St. Junipero Serra. So that's always captured my heart in a very particular way. And having mentioned that, one of the books I'm reading right now, actually, which I highly recommend, is a book called At the End of the Santa Fe Trail. And it wasn't written as a book. It was actually written as a private, personal journal of a religious sister who immigrated from Italy in the 1800s, moved to Cincinnati, Ohio, and then was sent out by her superiors to Colorado and New Mexico, where, of all people, she befriended the infamous outlaw Billy the Kid. And through her interactions with him was actually able to save people. And when she came back to Cincinnati, she had no intention of publishing it, as I said, but the bishop realized that this piece was of such historical value because she was really eyewitness to so much of what transpired in the American West and what led to, let's say, even civilization out in the American West. And I've really been enjoying reading it. It's a first-hand account. It's very personal, but also it's personal for me because I found out just last week that before she went out west, she was actually assigned as a religious sister teaching religious education at the same parish that I was assigned to in Steubenville, Ohio, as a priest. And her cause is now open for canonization. There's been over 170 something miracles that have been related to her as far as her intercession. And so really just an amazing connection. And this is how I find the saints work in our lives, is they find us, we don't find them. And so if there's a book I want to recommend, definitely At the End of the Santa Fe Trail. As far as a religious book, though, goes, because I know not everybody's into history, not everybody's into the American West, but a book that everybody should read is The Diary of St. Faustina. That book is such a powerful piece of deep spirituality, but also prophetic. It's a prophetic book. Our Lord appeared to her, said to her twice, I am using the sign of this message, or this message is the sign that the end is near. And he also said to her, I'm using you to prepare the world for my final coming. It's 700 pages, a little bit to take in, but I find if you read 2 pages a day, right, you can get the whole book done in a year, and it gives you time, really bite-sized pieces to meditate upon throughout your day, because it really is a message for our time, and it's a message that gives hope in the darkness.
The next one says, what would be your dream vacation?
My dream vacation, which I've wanted to do for probably, no kidding, about 20 years now, and I still believe it can happen, And that is, I would like to get a small motorhome, like a Class C motorhome, and drive cross country, spending a month visiting different national parks. And really just having that quiet time alone on the road, discovering the beauty of the land, of God's creation, and being able to have an adventure going across our great land.
What's your favorite Christmas movie and why?
My favorite Christmas movie, probably a shock to a lot of people, is actually Home Alone. Why?
Which one?
Home Alone 1.
Okay.
So, why? Because when it came out back in 1991, I was actually roughly the same age as Macaulay Culkin, the main character in the movie, and I think for a young boy to have that type of adventure, right? It is an adventure, even though it's not going out. It's still an adventure of him being alone, having people try to break into the home at Christmas time. He's able to defeat them, but I also appreciated the spiritual element. Again, you don't see much of that, but to see, his visit to the church, making the sign of the cross before his meal. There was something very wholesome about that, but then also too the story of his neighbor, right? Really the story of a neighbor who's been shunned, and yet they're able to find reconciliation. And so there's really a beautiful message to that. It's one of those movies, that I love so much. Even when I first came here to the Chicagoland area, I actually drove to the North Shore to the house where it was shot, just so I could see it.
What is your favorite non-Christian music group or band or genre?
It's a really hard one to say. Again, kind of like food, I have a very eclectic taste in music, but definitely country music, I would say, has probably been kind of the mainstay of my life. And I would say because it tells stories, right? It tells real stories of real pain, real sorrow, real joy, right? They're really slices of American life, right? And the instruments, I love, the fiddle, all the natural sounds that come out of that particular genre of music. As far as like a favorite artist, definitely Johnny Cash has been one of my absolute favorites. Again, pretty much all my life.
Have you gone on a pilgrimage?
So yeah, I've actually been on quite a few pilgrimages, praise be to God. Certainly locally, up to Champion, Wisconsin, where really it's the only approved American apparition of Our Lady, the Blessed Virgin Mary. One of my favorites, really. It's so humble, and as you're there, you can really feel the peace of not only God, but Our Lady. And so I've been up there actually many times. I've traveled to Mexico City, to Our Lady of Guadalupe, to see Mom. I've also been to Italy, to all throughout. Definitely have been to Medjugorje. I'm heading there again, actually, in 2 weeks. It'll be my 4th time to go. But I would say, all in all, my favorite pilgrimage, the one that has probably impacted me the most, was walking the Camino in Spain. And that's, for those who don't know, it's one of the oldest pilgrimages in Christendom. I believe it started in around 1000. And it literally is a pathway across Spain, there's several of them actually, that all lead to the burial place of St. James the Apostle. And it's a powerful experience to be walking on this Camino, really with just the backpack on your back, and encountering so many different people from so many different walks of life, all seeking God, at least most of them seeking God. And when you begin to meet these pilgrims and talk to them and hear their stories, you begin to realize something so common in all of us, and that is this deep need for God's healing.
So we have 2 questions here that are kind of similar, so I'm going to run them together. The first question is Cubs or Sox, so pretty self-explanatory. The next question is just sports in general. What's your favorite sport? What sports do you like playing? So why don't we start with the Cubs and Sox, and kind of go to the other one.
Sure, no problem. I knew I would get this question because everywhere I go, they always ask, what team, what sports team? I've been in the Pittsburgh area, so that's Steelers territory. I've been up in Wisconsin, which of course is Green Bay, and now here in Illinois. And actually, I'm really happy to say I can dodge that question because I'm actually not a sports fan, so neither. In regards to my favorite sport, that's hard to say. I played Little League, but never really got into it. I'd have to say that if I were to choose a sport to like, the little bit I do know about it, probably soccer. I really do like soccer as far as the game goes. I think that was probably my favorite one to play in school. But generally speaking, not a huge sports fan, so I can escape that question.
Are you a dog person or a cat person?
So, to kind of get into this, a good priest friend of mine has a magnet on his refrigerator that says simply, cats have staff, dogs have masters. I'm definitely a dog person. I grew up with cats mostly. I did have some dogs, but I would say it's a world of difference. I like cats, but if I had to choose to have a pet, it would definitely be a dog.
Yeah.
So for all of you who are cat fans, please forgive me. I have nothing against them.
What is your favorite candy?
That is a tough one. I would definitely say dark chocolate, but also candied pecans. I have, unfortunately, some dietary issues which preclude me from having a lot of different desserts that I used to love. But speaking of desserts, and if anyone would like to bring them for any reason, creme brulee. I love creme brulee. That's one of my absolute favorites.
Like cracking the shell.
Absolutely.
I've seen creme brulee donuts actually just yesterday, and it was pretty good.
Oh.
Homemade, like a recipe. I'm gonna make them homemade. So you hear that? Make some creme brulee donuts, anyone. You'll get
As long as there's no gluten. I can't do gluten.
with almond flour, right?
Yes.